Bonjour, everybody. You are listening to Worldwide Tea. It is an international drag race podcast where we celebrate everything related to the international seasons of Drag Race. My name is Evan Sawdey from Pot Matters, and as always, I'm joined by Gregory Ellwood of the Playlist and sometimes the LA Times. And if you're noticing the tone is a little bit different this time, it's because 90 minutes before we started taping, Greg had sent me a text message informing me of some truly shocking news for the drag community, which is the passing of James Lee Williams, otherwise known as the Vivienne, the winner of UK Season 1, participant in US All Stars Season 7 All Winners, and passed at the age of 32. It's something that was on no one's radar. I think the world is still shocking. I can't even say I'm even sad right now. I'm just still in a state of shock over it, truth be told. But we're still processing it live. We tape this on a weekly basis, and the timing just happened to be right before he went on mic. So it's a very different kind of vibe over here. But before anything else, I want to go ahead and pass over to Greg, who has seen the Vivienne live. I just kind of want to get the thoughts, the reaction. We don't typically for seasons that the show that has run as many seasons as it has across so many different franchises. We don't really have a lot of drag queens who pass away. They're all
Yeah.
relatively younger. So this is truly just shaking things up. It's very shocking.
Yeah, it's insanely sad. When we just came on, I just noticed that even Bianca Del Rio just put up a post. Bianca doesn't usually do posts like that. Was a very close friend of hers. So I think a lot of people in the community are shocked. I think she was only 32, which
Yeah.
is not good. Like not good, not I mean, obviously any passing is so sad, but had so much more to give to the world, to the UK, to the art of drag, to her friends, to her family, and you have to think of them. Before we came on, I you were kind enough to send the best of the Vivienne that Paramount had collected as a YouTube video before she was on All Stars, so that American audiences and other global audiences could know who she was. And there was that moment in season 1 of Drag Race UK where she talked about how she hadn't stopped doing the drugs that been doing, which she had done very hard, she admitted, for 4 straight years,
Hmm.
that, her doctor said she could die by the age of 30.
Hmm.
And it sort of struck me. I don't think when they included in that, they ever thought, she's been clean
Right.
for a long, long time. And by the way, in no way are we suggesting that's why she passed. But what happens is when you affect your body that much, anything can happen moving forward. Like it's all long-term effects. We don't know what it is. We may never know, and it's not our business to know.
100%.
But just the idea that she knew her own mortality is just super sad. Um, but I was lucky enough to see her live. There was a war right after the pandemic in 2022. There was the War of the Catwalk tour that she hosted that night. It was here in Los Angeles, and it was a great night. It was her, it was Crystal Versace, it was Crystal Method. It was actually Kita Mean, the first time I saw Kita Mean, and Kita was pretty great. It was a lot of international queens people hadn't seen in the US. And the tour did pretty good. This was a sold out, pretty close sold out show in LA. And she killed it. She did 3 numbers. She sang live. She did a lip sync number. She had this great moment, which I put up on our Insta, and I will put up on the Worldwide Tea Insta when we post this our article or this podcast, where Monet was in the audience and they had been on All Stars together and they were friends. And she came in and she did this joke with her where she went basically into all the way into the audience, into her row to hug her. And she
Mhm.
made this great joke. And she was busting on her for having a beard, for so clearly not working. And it was just very funny and it was very her. And she was just super quick witted. And to to forget about being a drag queen, but to be a comedian, to be an actor, to have those synapses to just be like boom, boom, boom. That is talent. And that's why so many of them are talented and why she was so talented. And it's just a terrible loss. It's just
Yeah.
terrible.
I think let's just briefly, because we only have one episode to get to this week. Obviously,
Yeah.
we have our Canada season 5, which is still ongoing. But I do think we could probably just do a brief moment of just briefly collecting thoughts about her, what she has done outside of the show and what she's done inside the show. I don't think a lot of people know that outside of the show, she's been I mean, she's been active since 2007, like
Yeah.
doing drag. She's been doing things for a while, and since she won UK season one, which I think was a hit that I don't think even the BBC realized how big it was going to be, she went on to do so many different things. She went and obviously Netflix hired her up to be their own Trixie and Katya with her and Monet reacting to a bunch of shows on there. She was in, I think, some dramas that she was cast in. She was in the show called This Is Going to Hurt. She was performed on Dancing on Ice. She finished third place in that show. And the thing I will always, the thing is, I mean, when she was on screen in her season of UK, she was contentious. She wasn't always the warmest personality, but it is the thing where I think that she has such a deep appreciation of classic drag. And I very specifically remember when she married her partner. During their wedding, they had hired Chad Michaels to come and perform during it because like she was such a fan of not only the show but also of those performers of that time. And so to get Chad Michaels like to show up at your wedding and do share like that, like while it is her gig, it's still a big deal. Like, and that's like kind of the reverence that she showed for it. And while she very infamously was that an ambassador to drag in a early UK pub quiz that RuPaul hosted, and then had a brief stint, a shot of her in the crowd. What was this, season 8? Or
Yeah.
something like that when as the ambassador, like her love of drag has been widely well known and well embraced.
And just to clarify how deep the roots of Drag Race UK go, that night, which people, if you were unaware of, I've now realized like so much. There's parts of drag history that have been lost. Like I was talking to someone, I didn't realize something, and I was like, "You didn't know this?" So I want to say it was in 2018 or 29. It must have been 2018, maybe 20. No, maybe 2016. I can't remember. There was a one night only event in London where all of they tried to get as many of the great drag queens in the UK that they could to do just a one night like sort of pageant,
Yeah.
and Root judged it. And I don't know the particulars of how they got to the top two, but the top two were Lavoie and the Vivienne, and the Vivienne won, and the prize was to be able to go to the US and be on the show, and sort of on the show. They were in the audience,
Hmm.
but that was the experiment that basically was sort of like a test case for the BBC or whoever they were trying to sell to. They would have sold to ITV or Sky or whoever. So
Or
listen,
whatever. Yeah.
there's talent here. We can do this. And I think one of the things that's really important about Vivian's legacy is she really was a drag ambassador for the UK. That I now that we look back on it, there were moments at the beginning that were a little rough, but that first UK season is so good. In
Hmm.
the talent that they had was so good, and they're almost all still working today. And many of them are names that random gays in the US know. They've heard of Cheryl Hole, they've heard of
Hmm.
Bag of Chips, they've heard of Blue Hydrangea, maybe but I mean, they know the Vivian, and
Hmm.
they know and so then when the Vivian got on All Winners, it was it just opened up the door even more. And I remember at the time the Vivian was there was I mean, All Winner season was there's a lot of like queens who were upset with the judging, which watching as well. That's a whole like 3 hour podcast about what happened on All Winners. And the Vivian certainly got robbed in a couple. Like she probably could have won a couple other challenges that she didn't. But she had great moments. She had incredible runways, and she impressed and made a ton of fans in the US because of it.
Hmm.
And I think that that legacy will live on. While we've been waiting for this, I've been looking on Insta, and all of her All Stars uh, sisters are just shocked and blown
Hmm.
away. And Trinity was very good friends with her, and she's sort of like doesn't know what to like. Her reaction was just whoa. But I do think she was, and also just for the stuff that she did on the UK, like we got to remember. She did a better Donald Trump. This is the only time in her respect I will say his name than Alec Baldwin did.
Yeah.
Like literally iconic, like
Hmm.
so good. Also, I was rewatching like that Snatch Game was so effing good with her
Oh
and
yeah.
Bag. Like incredible. If you've never seen it, go back and watch it online. It's so
A
good.
deserved double win, genuinely.
Yeah.
Yeah, shockingly so. But yeah, that was definitely of the thing. I keep one of the things that on UK1, she does have one of my favorite lip syncs when she in the bottom of the girl group challenge when she competed against Crystal and they did Power by Little Mix.
Hmm.
She's not the split jump whatever queen, but she can sell the fuck out of a song. And I was kind of reminded that because I was looking back over her All-Star 7 run. And it's one of those things where, although her legacy extends so far beyond Drag Race, we have Drag Race and we have what she did on there, which can always be looked back on at any time. But she lip synced twice against Evie Oddly, once against Raja, once against Jinx Monsoon, bested Evie once, bested Jinx once. She did the Dolly Parton lip sync. She did Super Freak. She did, I mean, like, made a competitive mark over there. I don't think a lot of people counted her in the first part of that
No.
competition, but then when she had her ascent, she kept ascending all the way up till that cutoff at the last episode for
And
the
she and I think she didn't make the top four, right? She should have.
correct. She competed for the already done has hers as prize, and then lost to Evie in the first lip sync round.
Yes, she was arguably robbed of the top four, just like Jada was.
Hmm.
Um, yeah, that was again choices.
Choices.
Uh, but they needed to make Shay happy. I do think that just a great talent, and you never want to say that. I just feel like the not repercussions, the rubber.
Reverberations.
Thank you for the right word. I think feel this for a little bit. I think it's gonna like feel a little bit. It will be a hole in the drag race scene in the UK. Um, but what a queen, and so much is out there. So much. She will not be forgotten for quite a long time, and I am so sad for her family and her friends, and then also for such a young. They're about to shoot season 7, and we've already had two contestants already pass away. Like it's really sad. It's like a little
Yeah.
tragic.
I know. And I remember very specifically because in the UK, I don't think that's really happened. The last time I think it really happened was Cherry Valentine, who
Yeah.
also died extremely young age
Yeah.
too. And when we covered UK versus the World 2 a little bit last year, we didn't cover it. We hadn't started the podcast yet, but I do very specifically remember Tia Coffee. One of her most memorable runways that she did was a full-on tribute to Cherry Valentine too, which was actually I thought I don't even it was one of those things where I don't even think if she was playing for points or everything. I just like that was her friend, and I thought it was actually a very lovely tribute that she did on that runway too. And so it's sad anytime it happens, and to see the community come together and rally around it is beautiful. So thank you everyone for listening and taking this walk down memory lane. Please do yourself the favor. UK1 is absolutely worth the rewatch. It is, I think, and even All Star 7, she had such a good run there. She has a good legacy of immediately accessible stuff to us, even if you look up her clips of, still watching Netflix with Monet. Lots of great stuff, but it's just a fraction of what she did. The more you dive into the things that she did outside of televised work, she truly was an all-rounder, truly.
And just for giving us great television, she is the reason why we have the iconic line. It's not her saying it, but she's the reason why we have a red wig and a silver dress. I think not. Like we have that.
Yeah,
So thank you, Vivienne. Rest in peace. But
absolutely.
Evan, we have one season still going of International Drag Race at the moment.
And you know what? We also have iconic workroom fight moments as well to recap in this episode too. Yes, indeed. We have Canada's Drag Race still going on. Man, what a season this is turning out to be. Let me tell you, this is turning into something.
I'm not sure what it's turning into, but as I've said before, they continue to just cast in impressive personalities.
Mhm.
Not so sure about the drag, but the personalities are reality TV heaven. Like it's working for you guys, Crave.
Yeah, and the other thing too, I will keep saying is that UK, I mean, sorry, Canada still has the challenges to make it work too, because
Yeah.
this challenge, I've already seen some of the reception online. A lot of people are saying, say what you will about who won, say what you will about everything that happened on there. Replicate this challenge. Have people do this for Supreme. Have people do this for Rue. Like if whatever
Good for
happens, like
Nikki. Yeah.
this would be so. Oh, Nikki would kill this. Oh, it would be so good. Anyway, let's get
Wait,
into it.
can you imagine Mama Pow walking around? I'm like, she would take 30 minutes to watch to do every single like it would be amazing. Actually, I insist the Philippines, I insist you need to do this.
Yes, because I want to hear Mama Pal's critique of like, I like the dress, but the shoes.
Yes, the shoes.
Anyway, before we get into it real quick, in this House of Love, just so y'all know, we believe that all drag is valid and that no queen ever deserves online hate. And as American entertainment journalists, we may not get every cultural reference and always appreciate corrections. And there are some truly great queens who simply aren't good at Drag Race, and we celebrate them all the same. And with that said, before anything even starts, we get into the workroom, and basically, Helena talks about immediately out the bat not regrets not giving the beaver to Michaela, but she couldn't not give it to Minnie after the last week. She had to make sure that Minnie had it before the lip sync happened. And yeah, I think it was totally understood. But as the queens are kind of dissecting and talking about things, Virgo is sitting down in her red alien outfit and is stewing and has moments. And it's just like, y'all, am I the only person here? I feel like I'm not being valued. Kind of has an immediate outburst, one of many in this episode, to talk about how like people, no one's checking on her, no one's asking how she's feeling about it because she also just survived a lip sync, but everyone's talking about Michaela, and it's just like it's a very upsetting moment for her, and a lot of people are just kind of like rationing around. It's weird because there is a sisterly vibe in the workroom, but it's also it's not fully coalesced. There's still definitely raw edges and tension between everyone.
I can't tell if if it's genuine or if it's the producers poking them. It feels weird. Like
Hmm.
it sometimes it doesn't feel genuine. Virgo felt genuine in
Yeah.
that moment, but I don't know. I'm super curious when their NDAs are over what they would
Hmm.
say. Um, but I thought it was a lot, but this whole season has been a lot when they've been off the stage. So it was sort of part of the course. I was like, yep, whatever. But
Yeah.
one of my first thoughts when the episode started, one of your favorite recurring guest judges returned,
Lorraine Fox,
Karen
baby.
Fox, and I'm like, is she permanent? What's going on? Like, can they not say? Is it like a Canadian SAG thing? Like, I
It
don't.
kind of feels like a T.S. Madison kind of thing right now.
Yeah,
She's like kind of there, like for the most part here, but oh my God, she just still lights up the screen every time she's on. I still love that she's here.
I'm
Absolutely.
like, are they not making her permanent because Tracy will get mad? Like, I'm just trying to figure that out.
Right.
Like, what's going on?
Hmm. Give us the real tea.
Yeah,
Someone will know. Worldwide Tea Podcast at gmail.com if you know the
please.
tea. Let us know.
But Evan, can you please run down this random ass mini challenge? Like, what was this?
So, Brooklyn decides that, hey, I need a personal assistant. So, if everyone could please get in quick drag in 15 minutes, I will interview you for the position of being my assistant. So, it's very wild what happens. It is effectively an improv challenge, and a lot of people are very unfinished for being in drag for 15 minutes. She asks questions about like if someone walks into the room and they are wearing the same outfit I do, what would you do? And just asks a lot of questions. I think definitely a lot of wild things on there. I think Biddy Wang really gave it some real personality on there with her very obfuscated answers. I do think Perla also did some wonderful work on there. What would you do if someone confronted me over this dress? I'd cry. I thought there was some great moments, but it was a wild one. It wasn't on the level of some of the Thailand challenges that we've seen, certainly, but it was certainly up there.
My thought was, what on earth told the producers that this non-comedy cast needed to do this right now? I would
Yeah.
have rather, it was fine, but to take 10 minutes for this, like, can we just have them dance under a hula hoop? Can we do like,
Can we
can
have
we
them do a limbo?
a limbo? Can we do Twister? Can we do like something that's like just fun and get it over with? Like, I just was like, this is just reinforcing the fact there is no comedy queens left, like none. And
Yeah.
I hope they can fix next season. First of all, Canada has given us so many great comedic actors. Like, there has got to be more fun comedy queens.
Mhm.
You cannot believe this.
Yeah.
Anyway, maybe you know what?
But
Maybe they're so successful as actors, they don't need to be drag queens. They can just
one of the two. They
one
have,
of
I
the
mean,
two.
and truth be told, as we've seen over time with the different international seasons, there are definitely lanes that different queens fit into. As we discovered with down under, fashion is not a lane that a lot of people really kind of take, which is why we've had two different fashion winners win the last two
Yeah.
seasons of Isis Davis and now Lazy Susan, who, we might be knocking on the door of a little bit soon. We'll see.
Maybe.
Maybe we'll see. Keep an eye on here. But also, it's like, but then you look at Philippines, and it is all performers. It is all like outright. These are, so like it's just kind of interesting the lanes on here. And yeah, I don't think comedy is really a lane on there because even then when we had like Isis was funny. Priyanka was really more of a true comedy queen, and you can maybe argue Giselle, but Giselle walked that fine line between kind of comedy and fashion in a weird way. Like it's kind of a different, interesting way to place it. Yeah.
Well, Jimbo,
Yeah.
like the ultimate, like still the greatest comic. First, also still the greatest queen they've pulled out of the show. But like, but ultimate comedy queen. There's got to be more. I just find that even Rita has like a very quick wit. Like even
Hmm.
with her, she obviously thinks in French first and always has to rethink. And I get it. Like that's life. It's all good. But she could be very funny. She was actually good in a number of their comedy challenges. But we'll see. We'll hopefully moving forward. But this challenge, people loved it. Like
Yeah.
they went nuts. And Brooke comes into the workroom and announces it. And what was the girl's reaction? I can't remember, Evan.
Well, first off, we know the reaction of Minnie Wang when she won the mini challenge with her
Oh,
$2,500 from Tan on the Run, whatever the fuck that is. But the reaction of the girls to this challenge, where it's such a good fucking idea. You are
mm,
going to design an outfit specifically for Brooke Lynn Hytes to wear on the runway. And on top of that, you have your own runway to do, but the whole point is you're designing for not just a design challenge, you're designing specifically for one person. What a great fucking idea, first off. And I
yeah.
think a lot of people are initially intimidated by it because a lot of people, even the ones that have designed or have done at least some basic work, have always done it for themselves. So then to do it for someone else's very specific measurements is actually pretty wild. But for me, the cherry on the top of this whole fucking thing, because I love a design challenge, one of my favorite challenges in the show, is having Suki Doll, who I'm not sure a lot of people remember Suki Doll, but Suki Doll was the fashion girly on her season. And it was season 2 of Canada's Drag Race. And my God, when she comes back, not only is she here to give you some critiques, everyone also gets like 5 to 10 minutes with her, and she will help you with whatever you're trying to accomplish. So for a lot of people, that means sewing a zipper into the actual outfit itself. And like, it's one of those simple things, but I'm like, this is fucking great because
Yeah.
like I do love it when judges or even guest judges come in and they provide advice like here's what you need to do for Snatch Game or whatever, to actually sit with them and actually actively help them for 5 or 10 minutes or whatever. That's fierce. That's great because it also really speaks to the strategy of this whole fucking game, which is if you know you can do certain things but you can't do other things, and you have someone like Suki Doll right there ready to help you, and you need to prioritize what that thing is. And if that's installing a zipper, that's installing the zipper. If it's something else like a design element you need done, fantastic. Like it was everything about this episode was really giving me life in terms of how they constructed this challenge.
I loved having her back. I realized, I watching her, I was like, oh, I can see why you haven't come back for, Canada versus the world or whatever. Like, I don't think I don't think that part matters. She makes
Hmm.
money making outfits. Like
Yeah.
she is,
Getting
and she
coin
gets,
and is
yeah.
barely booked. Yeah.
And by the way, she's booked not from just Canadian queens, but US queens book her international. She makes money from all around the world. But she looks stunning. My only thing about the challenge, I was so glad she came to help, but I wish they'd had a timer on it. I wish they made it more like because I really wish that would have put in more tension into it. Maybe they
Hmm.
don't want to create more tension, but I thought that would have been super fun. Like, oh, you only have 5 minutes. Come on. Like, oh, I couldn't finish. You have to finish the zipper. Sorry. Like that would have been cool to me.
Hmm. It was kind of fun too because you got to see a lot of people just how they reacted to a lot of things. There was a lot of people that had confidence, a lot of people that were kind of out there. Michaela was very open about how she was changing her ideas or to like kind of wondering through it on here. I do think that Michaela is the best talking head this season. You can say what you will about her performance in the show itself. She knows how to sell the moment in the confessional room. I think she is has a almost supernatural ability to do that. I see Greg's face
No,
over
no, I'm just saying, listen, I have no idea what happens. I don't know.
for the course of the season. Yeah.
But listen, just put Michaela on Traders US, Traders Canada. Put her on Big Brother Canada. Like, she's great for reality television. She's great for.
Absolutely. I actually, because we kind of brought it up a little bit, I had to look it up the other day. I'm like, how well did Melinda Verga do on her season of Traders Canada? And I guess she made it halfway through. So
Oh,
before
that's
she,
good. I was actually curious. I hadn't seen that.
yeah, she was
And by the
banished
way,
in like episode 6 or something like that. So definitely lasted longer than Peppermint in the U.S. iteration.
yes. And speaking of Traders, Traders US starts on Thursday, and they have not sent episodes. Last year they sent the first three episodes. So let's pray Bob makes it longer than Monet. But the first three episodes are out. I will certainly be binging them Friday, Thursday night because that's one of my favorite reality shows. But I am just super Bob. Make it halfway. Just make it halfway, Bob, please.
Yeah. We can
Uh,
that's all we can ask for. That's all we can do. By the way, real quick, I know we're in the middle of an episode recap, but Greg did let me know earlier in the week that there also might be, as if we don't have enough shit to look forward to this year, another All-Star season.
Oh yes, let's wait to the end. We'll talk
Okay.
about. I won't forget. We'll talk about
Okay.
that.
We will mention
It's
it.
a
Don't worry.
rumor.
We're gonna get the tea
It's a
there.
rumor. But
Exactly.
but something did happen, and please correct me if I'm wrong because I made a note about it. Did Minnie talk about how she loves her full-time job as a healthcare professional and also as a chiropractor? Maybe not. That's wrong. Or massage physical therapist or
Yeah.
something.
She has a full-time job and a part-time job, and those are the things that she does all the time, but drag is her one creative outlet.
So she basically told the producers, "Do not ground me because I don't do drag full time." That's basically what she did.
Didn't we just run into that in the UK? Didn't yeah, with another
No,
queen
in Down Under.
down
In,
under. You're right. You're right. You're right. Right.
yes.
Yes. With our
Um,
sweet vibe.
but I will say that full-time job is coming in very conveniently because when we hit the runway, whenever you're ready, Minnie spent, and we will tell you why.
Yes. Well, first off, which way do we want to do first? Do we want to do the actual Queen wardrobe malfunction runway, or do we want to do the Brooke outfit runway?
Let's do the wardrobe first. Like
Okay.
there's malfunction because I think that's fun.
So this is one of those ones. So the category is wardrobe malfunction. Such a great idea, and it's one of those things where actually let me walk that back a little bit. I think it's a great idea on paper because the execution was kind of all over the place, if I'm being fully honest. The first queen out was Minnie, and she had basically, it was kind of this like girlish dress, this big hoop thing. It was basically just a regular, it was a tube top with a big, like squared out dress, and along with a big bow in her hair. And she drops a lolly, and she goes over to reach up, and oh, what happens? The dress actually folds up around her face and stays there like a cone. And it's one of those things where is the design itself truly like amazing? I would say no, but the actual infrastructure of what it does in terms of what you're doing for wardrobe malfunction hits the brief on the head. So it was one of those things where like at first it's like, oh, that's the outfit, but when you see the actual mechanics in place, it's like, okay, this is actually pretty cool.
I thought it was super fun and camp
Yeah.
and really well executed. And it is designed by Rochart Design from Italy,
Hmm.
who, if you were, we actually brought him up last week. He did, oh no, we brought him up, I think, during Crystal, what's her name? Crystal from
Crystal Envy.
Wendy.
Yeah.
He did her promo look, and he did Nelenia's Global All Stars finale look.
Oh,
He
cool.
has done a ton of Nikki Doll runways for Drag Race France. So Minnie spent, like, this was not cheap. Also, if you're a queen listening, again, once again, his commissions are closed till February 2025. He is booked and busy.
Yeah. Technically, it's only a month away from when we record this, so I
True.
think
Yeah.
they might have a little bit of time on there, but get in while you can. Absolutely. Virgo Queen. She came in with basically a strappy black dress that was very tight in the back, very tight corset with a little bit of skin showing, and that was it. Like
The idea was like she got caught in the straps in her arms. I thought that's what it was. I'll say this.
something like
Yeah.
yeah, I didn't get it. It was one of the things where like I could kind of see the vision. It was this is a lovely strappy thing, but like it just didn't read. It's that thing where if you're looking at it and you're supposed to guess what the category is, I sure as fucking gonna guess wardrobe malfunction out of that. Very
The most
surprising from her.
Yeah, I would say this. I actually thought it was one of her best runway outfits. If you took away
Yeah.
the wrap, she looked incredible. Like she was like, oh, winner. Like she looked incredible, but I was not giving malfunctioning at all.
No.
Like
No. And that was unfortunate too. To a similar idea too, Helena, a queen that we've talked about very openly or love for as well. Basically, it was this stripper blacks outfit that she was wearing too. The whole idea was stripping to the point where she then strips off her own scalp as well. It was it was okay, I thought personally. It was the thing where I didn't necessarily. We've seen the stripper blacks before, many a times as
Yeah,
well.
yeah.
So adding the scalping element was surreal. I guess you could call it wardrobe malfunction. I wouldn't necessarily get wardrobe malfunction from it by looking at it, but it was safe. It was good.
My thought was, I literally just wrote again, should she have been on Dragula? Like, I sort of feel like,
Genuinely, at this point, yeah,
and part of me watched it and went, because Helena has had a great run. Like,
yeah,
she's been, I think she was low once, but has
mhm,
been high almost every week and hasn't somehow won.
for
And I
some
was
reason,
like, not yet, at least, right? She hasn't won.
right?
And this was the week where I went, oh, this is when you told the producers not to let you win. Like, by doing this again. This is like the third time she's done this. Look, this is like telling Brooke, no, you are
Mhm.
not Canada's winner. You are something else. And I feel like she may have, excuse my language, fucked herself over in a great runway by just going down this lane a little too much. But she's
Hmm.
so good. Her mug's always so great. Like,
Hmm.
I
Yeah,
hope
and
some DragCon LA, I'll go to get a photo. I'll pay for merch and get a photo, Helena.
absolutely. Yeah, and the thing is that like she's still lovely. She's still a wonderful
Yeah.
personality, but it's just like she just feels weirdly out of place in this competition in its own way. I don't think it's even because of the necessarily the horror aesthetic. She just feels like she's I'm not even sure to say like she's even playing the game because she's still competing. She just feels like she's just on a different wavelength than everyone else, you know?
And she's out of place because she's the most polished queen out of all of them. Like, that's why she's almost too good for the room. Like,
Right.
her drag is like too good for the room. And that's not somehow, I don't know if I've ever experienced this on a drag race season that's disqualifying her like from winning. It's so weird. It is, we need a 60 minutes investigation into what happened here. There's 60 minutes Canada. We need this.
Yeah, well, truth be told, they don't do it in the US, but what they do in the international seasons that we have seen queens win without a single win before. She could be the for Canada's first Electra Bionic. She could be Canada's first Philippe.
Philippe?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So who speaks very good English as we learn.
Yeah.
So we'll see. Yeah, now listen, I don't want to be this guy. I don't want to dogpile. But man, speaking of people telling the producers I want to go home this week, what the fuck was up with Xana's look this week? She was going as kind of like this, overly well done, kind of semi sci-fi but throwback flight attendant outfit, and her tits were out. But what the fuck were they? They were like these like constructed almost like they described I think Serene described it as potatoes. Serene was very upset there were no nipples on them, which by the
That's
way, respect, I understand. But it was like these weird like bundly bits. It felt like it was almost like gears or like screws that were cut. Like it was just like this weird. They didn't look breastily shaped essentially on there, and so it was. I see where her head is at, but it was rough.
my thought was either it was a rushed outfit, like that she was trying to get done before she left, or she misunderstood the brief, or like overthought the brief, maybe. Like that's all I could think of. I didn't think it was god awful, but I mean, I thought she might be low. I didn't necessarily know she'd be in the bottom, but then she is definitely in the bottom when we got the front look.
Get to in a second.
Yeah.
Yes. Uh, Perla maybe had one of the better ones this week too. It was a simple idea where basically she's a drunk girl. She's a drunk girl, basically what
Yeah.
it is, in a white dress and white high heels. Except the thing is, she spilled over herself, but the spill was all rhinestoned up, like this big blackish reddish
Mhm.
spill that was like ruby colored on there, and she definitely played it up on the runway there. I think that in terms of overall wardrobe malfunction as a runway, I do think Minnie had the best actual like
Yeah.
function and form on there. But Perla is like it was a good look. I think it was one of those looks that was so good you can technically may have applied it to another runway category, perhaps. This may have even been drag closet, as Greg likes to refer to. Who knows? But overall, it was effective. And while she did tie it into her journey of sobriety as well, I think it was just overall just well done.
I didn't love it as much as everyone else and the judges. I thought it was fine. It was well made. I just thought it was a little like, eh. My response was, eh. And I
Yeah.
like Perla. I just was like, eh. And also, I thought the drunk bit was a little like, I get later on she tied it into her sobriety, or maybe she did talk about it in her dialogue over her commentary over the runway.
Mhm.
But I don't know. It was like the drunk bit. Do we need this again? Like I don't know. That was my take.
Yeah. And totally fair. Again, Greg and I will not always agree on things, and
No.
that is part of the joy of Worldwide Tea, baby. Something that's unvarnished. And speaking of, we might agree, who knows, depending on Michaela's runway here, which is one of those things where this was. It's one of those things where just say less, let the thing happen,
Yeah.
and be the moment. Because the whole idea, she came out in this yellow butterfly catcher outfit on here, and it's one of those things where a queen of basically her skin tone when she wears yellow, especially the right kind of vibrant, it can make it pop.
Good point.
On the US season, we just saw it with lingerie when she came in this
Yeah.
gorgeous yellow outfit as well. And honestly, the tone that she picked for her outfit was fantastic. It was beautiful. Here's the problem. The whole idea is that her concept for this wardrobe malfunction runway was a reference to Asia O'Hara's butterfly incident from the season 10 US finale. Great reference, cool insider reference, love it. I didn't get wardrobe malfunction from what she was wearing. That was the problem. But while she was out there, her skirt back popped open. It had actually genuinely opened up, so she turned around and you could see her black panties, and it's like, oh, an actual wardrobe malfunction happened, which later in the workroom she notes was not supposed to happen. The whole idea was supposed to be a reference to Asia O'Hara. So
Yeah.
it was confusing, I would say, on there. Not the worst look of the week, but it was definitely just. I think it's one of the things she should just have been like, "Oh, that was supposed to be the malfunction." I think she over-explained her way out of any sort of degree of polish, or it just could have been a lesser reveal, but instead she took it another direction by explaining what happened.
Evan, I was in the Orpheum Theater when the Asia O'Hara butterfly incident happened. I witnessed it firsthand. I witnessed the death of all those butterflies. In fact, it was funny, you have your phone, it will like pop, well, I know you
Your
don't have.
memories, yeah, yeah.
No, sorry, I'm outing Evan. He does not have an iPhone. He's an Android man. But
Proud of it, baby.
they, if you have an iPhone, your photos will be like this memory from however many years ago. And it randomly picked up, we were outside the theater and there was a butterfly on my, like on the sidewalk, had come and rested on my friend's shoulder. And I got to tell you, not for a millisecond or even less than that, did I ever think that's what she was referencing. Like, did not, I mean, this is a memory ingrained in my brain. And like,
Right,
never in a million years did I think that. So it was already a reach for that because in theory, if the dress hadn't broken, where's the malfunction?
right. Is it
I
just
don't.
in reference to the malfunction? Because that didn't work. Right.
And then she turned around. I was like, oh, that's what it is. She's just like
Yeah.
an outgoing. And then she fucked herself over by saying that's not what it was. And I'm like, what are you doing? Like, you're right. Like, say less.
Yeah,
Say less.
truly. And it's
I
unfortunate
am
too.
meat in Broadway, Broadway. Don't speak. Don't speak.
Yeah. Right. It's like it's tough too because I still have such a great affection for her too. I think she's such an
Yeah.
incredible personality, but it's just like, stop doing this stuff because like this is not how you win the game. It's the thing. She was already on Call Me Mother. She knows how television editing and production works too. She's already been screwed out of a title once before. So it's like she was almost gonna win that season too. So like the fact that she's still kind of making these mistakes, maybe it's the pressure cooker, maybe we're what is this, 7 weeks in now at this point? Like who knows what it is, but she could definitely play a stronger game, which she does do in the actual runways that we have coming up here. Brooke wears the outfits that the girls have designed for them, and it's so fucking cool to see, genuinely. And as a lot of the queens note, they take a lot of lessons from seeing Brooke walk their designs down the runway too, because Brooke knows how to sell something and can
Yeah.
maybe make something like a front train work. Who knows? But let's dive into it. So Minnie Wang, she has the one is basically kind of this black outfit with these big red silky sleeves, much like the bodysuit that she designed in her earlier design challenge.
Yeah.
It doesn't have a wow factor for me, but it is effective. It is like it's simple, it does its job, it hits the brief.
I thought it was slightly simple, but very well done. Like well
Exactly.
done. Made no, didn't look like any like issues with sewing or any like phrase. It looked great in that
Mhm.
respect. Yeah.
Absolutely. So Virgo Queen, she has it's weird because she basically is trying to do a trans themed runway for her,
Yes.
and so Brooke is dressed up basically kind of an all I Dream of Jeannie vibe is what she's going for, which is, I feel like is something I may have even seen Brooke wear on some of the runways
And
as hosting the show before. Uh she does it in the trans colors, and it's rough because at least with the way, and Greg has talked about this before with the lighting in Canada specifically, I feel like the stage lights wash out the actual transness of the colors on there. It just kind of reads as kind of this pastel blue all the way straight through, which is unfortunate.
you know what I realized? You know how this is just talking about the lighting and the color, how Brooke
Mhm.
keeps complaining, and it's probably justified, about Perla's white mug. And
Mhm.
when you watch the video, it doesn't look that bad
Right.
because it's washing it. Their lights and their video washes it out. So in person, it's probably much more stark. And I think again, you made that excellent point with the pink and blue tones there. You're just not seeing it.
Yeah. I'm surprised they didn't comment on that more too, because I'm like, I love a fucking good trans flag runway, absolutely. And it's just like, it was, again, I think the look itself was okay, but it needed more body to it. Yeah, go ahead.
I actually like the top. I thought the
Hmm.
bottom was the problem. The bottom was super clumsy. It looked like it wasn't fitting with it. Like that was she couldn't sell the bottom. That was the problem. That's why she was low.
Yeah. Now, the one thing that has been striking to me is that I've been seeing reaction online to Helena's look, and I feel like I'm definitely out of the loop on this one here. I wasn't a huge fan of Helena's more punk rock look on there. I felt like the design was a little bit simpler. I thought the bunching of the tulle, while it did have certain nice mix of color elements in there, I felt it was just a little bit crunchy. I didn't feel like it had enough perspective on it, but I definitely, from looking at the reaction, I am in the minority because my friends and other people have said it has a POV, it's a strong look, and definitely the judges agreed with that too. What was your take on it?
I thought it was okay. I didn't
Okay.
dislike it as much as you. I didn't love it. When I saw it the second time, I was like, because the thing was, is the reason why she was high is Brooke loved wearing it. And listen, I'm down for anything where Brooke likes Helena. Like,
Right.
please, just like her. Like, I think that what won it is the proportions, and it probably, I think it fit Brooke the best. I think
Mhm.
out of all of them, it was the one that she put on easiest, and like it felt like she could move in it. That's the other thing. Like she felt like she could probably move without it all falling apart. And it's a design challenge. That's how you win it. So I was all for the positives for that.
Absolutely. Yeah. Xana, again, Xana said she wanted to challenge herself this competition. So instead of having a long train in the back, she has a front train over this overall, this kind of this dark blue fabric on here, along with kind of some nice pleating, some nice diamonds that were put on there. And you could tell Brooklyn was having a hard time walking in it. It was a really difficult outfit to do. And I think the worst part about it for me was that she puts all of these different little diamond sparkles, Swarovski crystals, whatever, on the outfit itself, but to the point where it feels like it's actually dragging down some of the elements on it there, so it doesn't actually have as much of a like a oomph as it is. It kind of looks like it's sagging in certain places. So it's like it's rough because God, I can see the vision of what she was going for, and I just think it was at the end of the day just a miscalculation.
I'm like, I've told many times I'm not a conspiracy theory person.
Hmm.
But if you look at, so she says, I'm putting on a front train.
Hmm.
It literally looks like she took one piece of blue fabric
Hmm.
and she doesn't go all the way. It doesn't cover the front completely. It's almost a side thing. It's like
Yeah.
partially from, if you're looking at her, it's like cut to the middle to the right.
Yeah.
And I'm like, the rest of the outfit looks well made. It has crystals and whatever. This looks like you put it on at the last minute. Why? Like it made me think, I don't know. I was like, did she want to go home? Was this like the producer saying you should do something different? Like
Right.
it felt off. Like I still to this don't understand because if you look at the rest of the outfit, even just cut off that like you put your
Hmm.
finger, it's safe. It's high.
Yeah.
She wouldn't have gone home. It was very weird. I didn't
Yeah.
understand what was going on there.
I felt like, and correct me if I'm wrong about this, I felt like when she was doing her consult with Suki Doll, I felt like even Suki Doll was like, had a question about it, but it's like, it's your vision, I'll just help you execute it, and then just kind of went through with it. So I think there may have been some seeds of doubt in there, but this wasn't like a plasma and design challenge sabotage kind of thing either. It just was her own decision, and it just was a risk that, love that she took a risk. It just doesn't look like it paid off.
But then there was Perla. What did you think of Perla?
Perla. Oh man, this was so close for me. So it was basically a chiffon bodysuit was basically what the vibe was on here, and it genuinely had this really gorgeous flow to it, and it looked really good until the moment happened when Brooke turned around on that last turn on the runway, and then a little bit one of the hand stitches popped out, and you could see some black panties at the very end there, right in the back, right in the pocket
Yeah.
there. I wouldn't say it was my favorite look. I thought it was really well done. I definitely think it's definitely in the safe high area on there, but I definitely think that it was the hand stitch really did kind of undid her chances of taking that over.
Even before the stitch fell off, I thought it was eh. Or
Hmm.
sorry, the skirt was eh, but I thought the top was killer. Like I thought it
Yeah.
was really good. And I thought, oh, she might be high or win. And then the stitch came out, and I was like, oi, ay, 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 ay. But like, and also she also like in the back, you turned around, it looked rough in the back
Hmm.
too, which I think was part of the problem. And she admits that I think on the stage, like that it
Absolutely.
wasn't.
Yeah.
But it was she. I mean, I didn't think she was bottom, and I thought she was happily safe.
Absolutely. And then Michaela. This one, I'll be fully honest here, especially after the runway of the wardrobe malfunction. I was surprised by
Yeah.
Michaela's. I genuinely was. It was this sleek design. It was well shaped. It was this red thing with kind of like these weird, not weird, but like these like kind of like, kind of crunchy bent over like fabric
Mhm.
shoulders that were kind of going around. Some very nice simple pearl placements kind of around the tits and around the bottom of the dress. Like it was editorial. It was like it's very simple still in the long run of things of what we've seen for design challenges, but like it was effective. My only problem really with it was in the very very back when Brooke Lynn turned around, you could see that the proportions for the lower back there was some bunching up
Oh,
with where the zipper was, which I'm surprised the judges didn't call out on the runway there. But like they even I think Brad even said it fit her like a glove. I'm like, not if you looked at the lower back. But for the most part, it was still overall very effective. I was pleasantly surprised.
I actually thought it was the best thing she's done on the show, like
Yeah.
in any challenge. And I was like, I wrote, she needs to make this dress for herself. Like I thought it was great.
Yes.
It was like the most fashion interesting thing she's created, and she's not wearing it. But it would be great if she could wear it for herself. I was, oh no, I shouldn't say that. She had the amazing jean runway. Her on jean runway was
Yes, yes,
freaking
yes, yes,
wonderful.
yes, yeah. She's had
That's
some
I
good runways
no,
too.
she's
It's just
had some good
definitely
ones. But
more of a
she
mixed package.
but this
Yeah.
is a different look if she wore this. And I thought, oh, you should wear this. This would look good on you.
Yeah.
Especially the red. It was like so good.
Yeah. So yeah, very pleasantly surprised, kind of all over the place. And so ultimately, when it comes down to the actual comments, it comes down to the tops are Minnie, Helena, and Perla, and the bottoms are Virgo, Xana, and Michaela. And even again, the Michaela Perla thing is kind of like a little bit mixed on there because they like what Michaela did, they just didn't like her wardrobe malfunction runway. So that was kind of that's kind of how the split was. But also, it's not a Golden Beaver week, so none of that stuff
Right.
really matters as much
Doesn't
anymore.
matter.
It's maybe it might be three tops and a half bottom, whatever it may be.
And by the way,
Did you?
I will say we need to get to the workroom first, but the judges had been waiting to do critiques for so long. They were freaking hilarious. They were having fun. They were just full of zingers. I was like, oh, you've been wanting to comment for so long.
Yeah, and also, man, Serene Fox just being like, "I need the nipple," like just screaming it out. It was such a great moment. Just make her permanent, for the love of God. Yes.
But Evan, this workroom moment, this producer shenanigans, what is going on?
So all right, so for let's just describe what happened, and then we could talk about our thoughts on it real quick too. So
Hmm.
they're talking about their critiques. They're talking about like the things that they think they did well. Definitely Helena feels like she's finally having a moment, that she's on the rise again. The queens in the bottom somewhat seem to know what they're in their bottom, and Michaela says, I don't care what happens, I'm gonna be standing in my joy. I'm super proud of what I did, which I think is correct. I think that's a good feeling. And then Xana jumps in and is basically like, well, The thing is, she did trip on the runway a little bit, a little bit. You know, when she was wearing your dress, that's the only thing. And also, your wardrobe malfunction literally malfunctioned. And then Michaela says, "Come again?" And looks at her, and in the confessional is just like, "Here I am standing in my joy, and I said if you try and bring me down again, then it's not going to be a place where you want to be. And now we're here." And then, in kind of a rapid escalation, and maybe that's actually how it happened in the real world, or maybe it's an edit, who knows? She then says, "I have never tried to bring you down whatsoever. Fuck this bitch," and starts storming off. And I kind of forget that I'm just so used to the way that the US stage is, where they have the main stage is its own lot or its own filming studio, and then the workroom slash backstage. That's why they have to do carts in between, which is
Oh,
in and untucked. I didn't
no,
realize in Canada, it's, or at least where they're filming it, it's all connected because the judges could hear. They could
yeah.
hear Michaela echoing across the hallway, and were very curious as to what's going on. Uh, yeah.
Quick update. They moved on to they're in the same location where they're shooting Drag Race, US Drag Race. But there's a brand new soundstage on that lot yet now, and they're in there, and it's so gigantic that it is actually all one now. They no longer have
Okay.
to go outside in the heat and like be covered with umbrellas to go from one
Man.
to the other. Because I don't know if you know, if people aren't aware, they shoot in the San Fernando Valley in the middle of the summer. It's like 95 every time they walk out. But I'm curious if that actually happens in the future because you can certainly hear it's not that far away. I mean, actually, maybe they put in sound barriers. I shouldn't say that. But yeah, that was wild. I did think Brooke acted very nonplussed about it. I think she was like, whatever. Like there's someone's being drama. Like she
Yeah.
didn't really seem like she thought someone was going home. I
Yeah.
thought I thought Michelle or Rue would have maybe like, or certainly Ross would have hyped it up more if they were there.
Mhm.
But they were
Hey,
all
we heard
like,
something going on backstage. Right.
does
Yeah.
she even go? Is that Michaela? Does she even say that or no? She
Yeah.
doesn't
It's
say.
just they said it sounds like Michaela at one point there.
She's like, whatever. Like I
And
like.
then
Go ahead.
yeah. And Michaela storms out, and everyone seems to be a little frozen, and then comes back, and then hurls insults directly at Xana, calls her garbage at one point, calls her, I think she calls her a couple other things too, which a lot of the other
Yes.
queens are like, whoa, 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 so calm down there a little bit there, where, and then they kind of have a brief moment to just kind of like separate a little bit. Xana is quiet the entire time during this, and Michaela makes it known that she wants to, and to change the subject to literally anything else. It's the thing where seeing the reaction online has been interesting because I think it's not like when I say majority minority, it's not, I think it's like 30-70 is how I would describe it from what I've seen just basically on social media. But
Yeah.
about 30% are like, Xana was just saying her mind, and if you can't take a critique, that's on you, girl. Michaela's being outrageous. I think it's blowing it out of proportion. And then about 70% is, fuck this bitch. Michaela is in her right. She's in her feelings. Yes, she probably went a little bit too far with her reaction, but I think it's, like she seems to be justified from where she is. I think as a viewer, it certainly doesn't help that Xana has had a villain light edit for the most part of the season, too, leading up to it. But Greg, I know he had sent me a couple things earlier in this week too. Has basically sent me a clip of this fight and basically said, "Is this a winner?" Basically, kind of
Yeah.
asking the question there. So, in terms of what, well, first before anything else, what was your reaction to this whole shenanigan?
I think my whole reaction was, I think I'm Minnie. Minnie's like, I quote, she said at one point, just very like calm and collected, like, "Are you just poking the bear?" I think she said that to Xana.
Hmm.
And again, it felt like, wait, is this like, is this like producer shenanigans or is this real?
Hmm.
You may have just said this, and I'm forgetting, but they did make up, like they hosted
The night it aired,
the
yeah.
night it aired, they hosted a viewing party in Canada, and this was also, again, they shot this like 8, 9 months ago. Like this was a while ago. And I think everything's fine now. And they probably laughed watching it.
Hmm.
Um, but I did think, Michaela beyond overreacted. And I think Xana was just poking her. And I, when Michaela got upset with her saying like the disgusting is a choice, she's just so young. Like that's all I can think of. She's just super young,
Hmm.
much like the season 17 girls. And I was like, I was just like, I knew the second she walked out, I was like, oh, she's not leaving. Like, none of these girls are leaving anymore. She's just trying to create good TV. And you know what? It's working. I will say this
Working.
on Instagram, she is the most popular queen from this cast, hands down. Like,
Really?
oh yes. She's almost at 50,000 followers. I think she's like 47,000 or something. Like she's on her way. She's doing very well. And she also, although granted, she did have a bunch of fans before she got on the show, but she can get booked. She will have a passionate fan base. She's going to be fine no matter what happens this season.
Yeah. To your point, I will say no. I don't think she's going to win this season at this point. And it's also the thing where I don't think even the producers would want her to win the season, slash Brooke, slash whoever, because she's unfortunately great TV. And the great TV is the kind of thing that you would bring back for a Canada Versus or something else like that. Because again, as you saw with Canada Versus, oh, a bunch of queens that are on for the third time. Oh, wait, it's great TV because they're actually, TV veterans who know how to do a fight, who know how to bring things in. So I'm still really excited for her on there, but yeah, it's she's still very, very much a young queen overall.
Wait, Evan, are you saying that when the inevitable Slaycation season 2 happens, that a winner with Michaela could not be on that show? I, if any show was made for Michaela, it's Slaycation 2 in the Caribbean. Like, or Slaycation 2 in South America, or in Palm Springs. Yeah.
Yeah. How is Jada Shada Hudson doing on Slaycation season one, now streaming on Wow Presents Plus?
I gotta be honest, just to take a quick side, I've been super busy. It's award season. I am
Uh-huh.
swamped. I did watch the first episode and I thought it was super fun and entertaining, and I thought they're all having a blast, and I will go back and watch the rest of it. Like, it was fun. And they all hate Boa, who looks amazing, and I still don't understand. No, I shouldn't say that. Jada hates Boa. Still don't understand that, but maybe by episode 2 or 3 it's all figured out.
Yeah.
Um,
So it's
Also,
Boa,
each episode
Jada. Oh, go ahead.
each episode I thought would be like 30 minutes. No, they're like 45 minutes to 50.
It's
Like
like a
this,
real ass show.
they made this show to be sold like with commercials somewhere for an hour. So it's a sit down. It's like Squid Game 2. You got to commit to it.
Hey, what about Scroll Games too? When are we going to be getting that? That's the real question.
Oh,
Uh,
no, that was for
But
Squid Game.
oh, by the way, I remember seeing earlier in the week there's an interview. Someone posted an old interview with the creator of Squid Game, who's like, I didn't want to fucking do season two, but the only reason they did it is because they got screwed out of a lot of the royalties and the
Yeah.
merchandise and a lot of things in the season one. So they did that season two with those things in place. But like they were losing teeth due to stress, due to filming. Like it was like a whole thing, and they will, I think, absolutely not be doing a season three, even though some people are asking for it.
Well, no, they're doing it back to back. So part one, so there's this is season 2, and then the next 6 or 7, which is going to come out later in the year, is it's really season 2 part 2, but they're calling it season 3.
Yeah.
So it will end at the end of this. It will be over by the end of this year.
Got it. Well, and also I briefly wanted to note that I saw a tweet or TikTok from Jax earlier talking about being eliminated by pies and how Jax was eliminated during the sweetest pie lips. I'm sorry,
Uh,
RMIR was eliminated by Jax during the sweetest pie lip sync in their season 15, and then later were just pied out of the competition as part of Scroll Games as well. So just
yeah.
pies just don't go well with them.
Can't
Fantastic
escape.
stuff.
Can't escape.
Anyways, so fun fact, the winner is Minnie Wang, the second design challenge win in for a row for Minnie Wang. Don't think I saw that coming, but pleasantly surprised, and also looking else what else was there, I think I agree.
But also, like as we talked about last week, where we gave some tea that has, I mean, again, they introduced her because it was a good story, because it was true that she was on the pit stop. She was a Canadian pit crew member,
Hmm.
and but she's been a queen for longer than that. Like she knows what she's doing. She's experienced. She's just not doing it full time, but she has experience, and I think that's showing. Um, the question is, does she have enough personality? Could she really slay enough to be a winner? But she's impressed me. I'm super impressed. She's super nice. I would like go have drinks with her and hang out. She seems fun.
Absolutely. Well, then we get down to the bottom two, and it's Virgo versus Xana to Taking Chances by Celine Dion. And I'll be honest, this is a Celine Dion song I wasn't familiar with. So it was actually kind of a nice, pleasant surprise to see a little bit more of a slightly more rock guitar backing for a Celine Dion song. I know it's not the only time she's done it, but it's definitely not the usual wheelhouse that we get for a Celine song. What did you think of the lip sync?
I thought it was good. I thought I thought Xana actually was sort of winning it at the beginning, and then something happened like halfway through where it was like, oh, Virgo woke up and like sort of like bodied her off the stage, like for the stage. I also thought Xana thought she was going home. Like I don't know what had happened behind the scenes or whatever. I'm not saying that anything dramatic did, but she just was acting as though like, oh, I think this is my time, which is weird because I think she would have put up more fight thinking she would last longer than Perla. So I was a little surprised by that. But it was a good lip sync, and Virgo
Yeah,
showed that she can do more than just splits. And I thought that was impressive. No, that's not shade on her. Like
right. Can you
it's
even
just
do the splits? Yeah.
yeah, good. But she's a well-rounded queen, and more to be honest, the end of the episode left me with is like, where is Punta Cana, and how do we get there, and is
Yeah.
that a vacation that Minnie will want to go on? If any readers before I Google Punta Cana, if could please tell us what it is. I'm so curious. But Air Canada flies there, and they're sending her there, so congratulations, Minnie.
Worldwidetpodcast at gmail.com for those interested, truly. Ultimately, I agree. Also, I feel like we talked about it before. Xana, the Candy Muse thing, just doesn't have all access to the emotions in her face, which is difficult during things. She can't always bend it in the way that Virgo can, and so it doesn't always get that emotive line across that sometimes you need. So, unfortunately, Xana went home this episode. She won the last week. She was definitely a strong contender. Virgo's journey is a little wild too because she won two episodes fairly early on between the first and third, like out the gate, and now has been in the bottom the last 2 weeks in a row. So definitely a wild narrative. Minnie has been safe or high for the most part. Now also has two wins on their end, running into dark horse frontrunner territory. It's kind of a wild thing that's going on. So at this point, I genuinely, and as Greg noted before, there's not really any spoilers out there. I do not know who's going to win this fucking season. If you were to place bets, who do you think it would be?
We've got 2 episodes left. Part of me still thinks that Michaela is on this Priyanka like narrative storyline that they had from season one, and it's sort of lining up that way. Um, I If she wins, it's fine. It's fine by me.
I
But
love her. I don't think she's going to win, if I'm being fully honest. Yeah.
I think it's between Michaela, Virgo, and I just don't. It has to be either one of those two. I just don't see them. They don't love Helena enough.
Yeah.
They have not given her tons of like. She's actually a very good talking head, but you can tell like they're not like focusing on her very much. It's to be honest, you know what? She is very much giving, although Sasha won challenges, Sasha Velour from season 9, where like she was there and everyone was like, "Oh, I love her. She's great. She's a fun queen." But no one thought she was going to win when they went into that finale, and just the
Mhm.
format of that finale flipped everything. This is not happening here, clearly.
Mhm.
But she just feels like a quietish. She's not quiet, but like they're not giving her the spotlight. And then Minnie, I just don't know if she can win. I don't know if she can win. Perla ain't winning. There's like no way. Like she's been in the bottom too often, and I would be shocked if she makes it to the finale. But anything
Yeah.
can happen.
Anything could happen. I mean, the fact that Virgo, even though she still has, I think, a prime narrative, she's been in the bottom 2 weeks in a row now, so
Yeah.
I don't know what's going to happen. But if she turns it around with a win next week, who knows? That might be enough to save her. So we'll see. Maybe they will give it to Helena at the end. As you never know, it's Canada. It's wild.
And next week, speaking of T.S.
Hmm.
Madison is the guest judge.
I know, which I'm very curious and excited about. I already forgot what
I
the fucking
am.
challenge is.
Also, I'm trying to remember what. Oh, and next week is. Oh, we have to talk about this before it even happens because I am like, how can you make the main challenge before the finale basically a bring back my girls like taping on a stage with Brad doing interviews? Like, I guess it helps to do a reunion with the 5 of them, but like, how do you judge that? Like, it all feels a little like, oh, we're gonna do this so we can pick who we want to make it. We're not going to do anything that fucks up like who we want in the final episode, which props to them. But like,
Mhm.
and it could be super entertaining, but I can just see everyone going like, Erla was great, Minnie was great. Like, why are the, uh,
Yeah.
we'll
We'll
see.
see. We'll see what shenanigans transpire for this next time. But yeah, either ways, I'm still overall enjoying the season. It's just a wild season. That's the one thing I would say about it more than anything else.
You know what? It's giving entertaining drama. Can't knock it. Can't knock it.
You know what else is going to be entertaining? A new All Stars iteration that's going to be coming out later in this year.
Maybe. All right, so we have to be careful because some queens are trying to discount this. But the big rumor is that Down Under's next season won't be a regular season,
Mhm.
that it will be an All-Stars season. So let's see if that happens. There'll be more tea soon because they'll shoot it during the same time, which is right after uh, Michelle shoots UK versus the World 3 and Drag Race UK season. Are we on 8 or 7? 7.
Seven. Yeah.
So March or April. And so we'll know we're gonna know that's like only 2 months away. Like we're gonna know
Mhm.
pretty soon. But we'll see. There's slightly conflicting rumors, but no matter what, Down Under's coming back in some capacity. But it looks like it might be an All Stars.
Which means that next year, or at least in this year, 2025, we might be getting an All Stars for France. We know that for sure. An All Stars for Philippines, an All Stars for Down Under, and whatever the fuck they're going to be doing for season 10 of All Stars in the US, which is going to be
Oh yes.
a wild. And for those who are in the know, there's at least one season 17 girl who is already booked. So
Figure it out.
we'll see how that goes.
Well, you know what? Hey, before we wrap up, Evan, I just want to ask you really quickly. We should do this once a week before. One thought on this week's premiere episode of season 17. Just one thought.
That's very, very good. I would say, actually, here's my big thought. I'm gonna have an overall thought.
Sure.
I think that it is a very fun cast that they have. From one episode already in, it seems that there's a lot of energy in there. I can't wait for Acacia to go home first. I think it is just the vibe is very good. I had one friend say to me recently that like it feels like, and they truly mean this, the gayest cast that they've ever had. Like almost all drag queens are usually going to be gay in some way, shape, or form or whatsoever. And this one, they're just like this one feels especially gay. And I think they're specifically talking about Sam Starr just being extra, 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 extra. Listen, Joey J may be gay, but this is a different level of gay on here. But overall, I think it was very fun, very exciting. It feels like the casting might actually be correct on here and already out the gate, somewhat similar when we did our recap of the Meet the Queens over here.
Yeah.
I'm very curious about what Lucky Stars is going to do. I'm already a big fan of Hormonal Lisa. Yeah, it seems like a good group. What's your opening thought on season 17 US?
My one thought, and I think I might be reiterating what we said during Meet the Queens, but I watched at High Tops, I packed High Tops Los Feliz, and a a number of my friends were struck by how young they are.
Yeah.
And my friends are not old. So it was, I think we've had a lot of young queens on a season before, but there are 6 queens who are 24 and under, and another queen who is 25. And a bunch of them look 14 out of drag. And it's a little wild. And I'm trying to adjust to it because it just feels like it's just so much. And I'm like, can the winner come out of beat this? I mean, we had Aquaria, she won at 22, but
Hmm.
Crystal Versace, it just is like, whoa. For the US, it's like a little whoa. And it's making Lexi Love, who's 34,
Yeah.
seem like she's in her mid 40s somehow, which is like not the case whatsoever.
Yeah.
So, but anyway, but I enjoyed it. And, Lucky Stars was robbed at the top 2. She should have been
Yes.
top 2 lip sync.
100%. And all I can say is based on husband's reaction, they thought that Jules Sparkles out of drag and also Susie Toot out of drag were striking individuals,
Yeah.
and was very, very intrigued by them. But yeah, really, very a lot of beautiful people as well.
Yeah.
And also, oh my God, and also Joella, you may have been handpicked by RuPaul, but I was handpicked by Katy Perry. Girl, that is
Oy.
not the serve you think it is, I
No.
assure you.
You know what? She probably thought it was then.
I-
The one other thing I'll leave is if you haven't had a chance, if you if you listen to us, you probably watch the pit stop. But Raven shading Joella, being like, I don't know who she was. Like,
Yeah.
you gotta understand, no matter, yes, Raven is following Rue all around the world, but if anyone is like tapped into the Los Angeles drag scene, literally probably messages Morgan McMichaels like 5 times a day or speaks to her once a day. Like Mayhem is her best friend, like one of her best friends. They know what's going on, and she's like, I know who she is. Like that sort of killed me.
But
But
also, when they had the little scroll games thing, they actually got a lot of local LA
mhm.
drag queens there too. I think one of Morgan Michael daughters I saw was on there. A lot of girls who regularly show up at showgirls were in that group.
Yep, Carrie Colby's daughter was there. The idea, I guess, they were all contacted and said, "Come and bring if you have a drag daughter or drag family member, bring them," because they wanted to fill up the space. And I don't know if Trinity was like in town or they flew her in or she's like, it's a paycheck, I want to show up. But she doesn't live in LA and she was there, but she made it, and I was like, and it was a good, maybe they flew her in because she has two family members on the
Mhm.
show, and that was one of the reason why. Actually, that was my one only other thought about the season is I did not love that they all met each other, even if they maybe didn't speak to each other that much, like in that little bit before they went.
Before they actually entered the workroom.
I think it like
100%
made it.
agree.
I was like the energy was. I always love the shock of like who's
Yeah.
coming in,
And
and it
like,
seems
oh my
like
God, you're here? Oh my God.
yeah,
Although, man, the way that they were trying to figure out, like, well, I guess this is technically my drag aunt. Like, the math isn't that hard. Like, I know it's gay people trying to figure shit out, but like, it's a pretty easy flow chart to figure out.
yes,
That's all I could
yes,
say.
that was fun.
Yeah.
But listen, Evan, we're recording this on Sunday, January 5th.
Mhm.
I need to get ready to endure the Golden Globes,
Mhm.
where a number of men and women will be doing their best to wear drag down the Beverly Hilton red carpet.
Yes, they
So
will.
I think we have to wrap this one up.
And I think the only thing we have to do is that I think we can both agree because we always like to highlight a Queen of the Week on here. And I don't want to be too remiss over here, but I'm just going to say because there's still such a trove of content on there, follow the Vivienne. Because there is still things on her account talking about her recent foray into musicals, talking about her recent other things as well. Some of her incredible thirst traps that she's done, and I mean that as a genuine point of like she worked so hard on her body over the last several years as well. There's still a wealth of things to go into there. And I think there's, again, as we talked about, we will always have Drag Race. We will always have what she did in Drag Race as well, but her legacy extends so much far beyond that. So we will put that link over there in the show notes to follow up on there because truly, truly rest in power. Truly a queen that will be missed. And I think it's worthy to celebrate all the same.
And just really quickly, because we don't do this enough and we should. If you're listening to us on Apple Podcasts or on
Yes.
Spotify, please follow. Please like us and share. Tell your friends about the podcast. We know we have a nice group of listeners who are listening, but we'd love to grow it and get more word out there. And we've got surprises upcoming, so there's a lot going on. So please spread the word if you can.
Absolutely. And in the meantime, thank you so much, everybody, for listening. We'll see you next week. Take care. Goodbye.
Thanks, bud.